Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings for Tuesday, April 17th. We've got 12 games tonight, another big slate today, a lot of pitching options to talk about, so I don't want to waste any time. Just make sure you drop a like on the video, and if you are new and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you click that subscribe button down below, so that way you won't miss out on any of my new uploads. But yeah, looking at pitcher today, definitely some studs on this slate. 3 pitching options over 10K, Corey Kluber, Shohei Ohtani, and David Price. I do like paying up for pitcher most days. That's going to be the case here. Corey Kluber at 12,100. I really like on this slate against Minnesota. I think this is a good matchup with the Twins. They definitely have guys in that lineup that will strike out. Corey Kluber, we obviously know, is a great strikeout pitcher. This guy can rack up strikeouts like no other pitcher in the league. And like I said, there are some strikeouts in this lineup, especially towards the bottom with guys like Byron Buxton, Logan Morrison will strike out, Miguel Sano will strike out, Dozier versus a righty definitely has an increased K rate. Joe Mauer won't strike out that much, he does put the ball in play a lot. But there are still enough Ks in this lineup to where Corey Kluber can really pay off this price tag. We obviously know the Twins are going to have a low implied run total. Anytime Kluber faces a team, the run total is going to be low. They're implied to score 3.1 runs today. Kluber's a minus 197 favorite. It's pretty likely he's able to get a win with Jake Odorizzi on the opposing mound. So I like Kluber today, paying up for him. I think it's easy to fit him in. I think there are value pitchers that I like. They're definitely value bats as well. So I like Kluber. I prefer him over Ohtani and prefer him over David Price. I just don't really like the savings you get. I don't think you get enough savings. Maybe if you got like $3,000, $4,000 in savings, maybe you could consider Ohtani, even though it's a tough matchup with Boston. The guys looked electric so far this year, but with it only being 1K in savings, I'd just rather play Kluber. So then looking for SP2s, there are a lot of SP2s towards the top that you could pay for if you can find the value hitters that you like. For example, Patrick Corbin at 9,800, I really like here against the Giants. Even though that game's being played in Arizona and that ballpark does favor hitters, Corbin did put up a solid game earlier this year against the Giants. The Giants, they're just not that great of a team. You could definitely consider Corbin here. Even if you wanted to play like Lance McCullers against the Mariners, I think that's a fine play as well. But the guy that really sticks out to me, kind of just being too cheap for his matchup, is Alex Wood, 8,200 against the Padres. We're going to be targeting the Padres a lot this year with opposing pitchers. So that's one of the reasons I really like Alex Wood here, is because the Padres, they definitely will strike out a lot. They do have some power bats in this lineup, guys that do have power, like Renfroe versus a lefty. Villanueva, we've seen have a lot of power this year. But even though these guys have power, there are definitely guys that will strike out, especially like Renfroe will strike out. Hosmer versus a lefty, his K rate's increased a bit. And towards the bottom of that lineup, you just have hitters that you're not really afraid of. So I like this spot for Alex Wood. I think he pitches well here in Petco, good pitcher's park. I think Alex Wood definitely gets enough value on this price. I'd say 15 to 20 DraftKings points, pretty likely from him today. So I'm rolling with Corey Kluber and Alex Wood as my 2 pitchers. They're really the 2 I'm looking to build around. But then if we want to look at some of the other options that we could pivot to, there isn't a lot I love that's around Alex Wood's price tag. Maybe Gio Gonzalez, I guess you could go to for a little bit more. If you want to go to him at 8,500, he'd probably be my next favorite SP2 option. But I do prefer Alex Wood for a little bit cheaper. And then if you're kind of looking for like punt plays at pitcher, there isn't a lot I love that's really, really cheap. Not a lot I'm really looking to target. Maybe Trevor Williams at home in Pittsburgh versus the Rockies, you could consider at 6,700. But I'm not really a big fan of him today. Even though the Rockies have known to struggle a little bit more outside of Coors Field, I think I'd just rather get up to Alex Wood. Trevor Williams doesn't feel like the safest play. So pitcher for me today, definitely Kluber, Wood. Then I like Patrick Corbin a lot. If you can fit him in with Kluber, you could do that. If you don't feel like you need Kluber today, you could maybe play Corbin and Alex Wood, and that'll allow you some more salary to pay for bats. And then if you don't like Alex Wood, I do like Gio Gonzalez as sort of a pivot away from Wood for just a little bit more. But now looking for bats to go to, we're definitely going to need some value bats. Since we went with Kluber and Wood, that only leaves us about 3,700 remaining per player. But there are definitely value bats I like. There's some value I like at first base. I like the Rays, looking to that team for some value today. So CJ Cron, dirt cheap. He's only 2,800 today in a matchup with Matt Moore. I really like the Rays today. Like I said, I like their righties. Matt Moore is not a good pitcher. He really struggles to righties, gives up home runs. I hate the ballpark. Wish the game was being played in Texas, but even though it's going to be even though it's a pitcher's park, I still like some of these Rays righties, especially because of their price tags. Matt Duffy did get hurt Monday. Maybe he comes back today. If he comes back, you could definitely consider him at 3.1K since he's leading off. Carlos Gomez, we know, has a lot of power versus lefties. 3.4K, I like him. CJ Cron is 2.8K. Ramos, the same price. If you need a cheap catcher, I like him. I think the Rays are able to put up runs today. CJ Cron definitely has a lot of power versus lefties. I believe he homered Monday night. Very likely or very possible that he's able to homer again today versus Matt Moore. So if you're looking for a cheap first baseman, I think CJ Cron makes a lot of sense today at 2,800. And then my next play, going to third base, I really like the Astros today. If you can fit some of them in, and Alex Bregman is a guy that's a little bit easier to fit in. He's only 4,100 in a matchup with Ariel Miranda. Miranda, we know, really struggles to righties, gives up a lot of home runs to righties. We obviously know the Astros, from the right side of the plate, have a ton of power up and down this lineup from top to bottom. Springer, Bregman, Altuve, Correa, Gurriel, Gaddis, just all these guys have power. Even Jake Marisnick, projected about ninth, could be a value play. He's a guy that definitely hits lefties well. But you're obviously looking towards the top of this lineup for your plays like Springer, Bregman, Altuve, Correa are some of the top plays today, in my opinion. They're all under 5K, so maybe not expensive or not as expensive as you would think. But Bregman's the one that really sticks out to me here. Projected about second, only 4.1K. I think the Astros are able to put up some runs here versus Miranda. I think a couple of these guys are able to take him deep, and Bregman could definitely be one of them. I know Springer, I think Springer has some really good BVP versus Ariel Miranda. He's 4 for 15, only a 267 average, but all 4 of his hits were home runs. So Springer's got that BVP versus Miranda. You could definitely consider him in the outfield. But the guy that I really like is Bregman at third base. Because of the price, I think he's a good option today at 4,100. And then my final play is coming from the outfield. Another really cheap play, another really sort of cheap stack I like is the Oakland Athletics. I like some of their lefties today. So Matt Joyce at 3,100. I think it's a good value option here in a matchup with Miguel Gonzalez. Miguel Gonzalez is not that good of a pitcher. He definitely struggles to lefties. So guys like Joyce, Lowry, Olsen, these are value plays that you can definitely look to today. They're all cheap, all under 4K. Olsen's the only one that's right at 4K. Davis is expensive at 4.9. Besides him, you got plenty of value in this lineup. The A's I believe they have the highest implied run total on this slate as I'm recording this video at 10 o'clock Eastern Time Monday night. The A's are implied to score 5.1 runs. You've got some value in this lineup. Joyce is a guy that has a lot of power versus righties. Projected about leadoff, only 3,100. Really like him here versus Miguel Gonzalez, and I really like the Athletics today as a cheap stack if you want to go to them. But yeah, guys, these are my 5 plays for today. Corey Kluber, Alex Wood, CJ Cron, Alex Bregman, and Matt Joyce. Now if we want to look at some of the top stacks on the slate, some of the highest the teams with some of the highest implied run totals. Since the A's are right here, I'm definitely going to talk about them. The lefties from the A's I really like. They're a team I'm really looking to go to. If you can fit in some of these top plays from the Astros like Springer, Altuve, Correa, I think all of them are in play today, especially Bregman with him being a little bit cheaper than them. These righties just have so much power, and Miranda gives up a lot of home runs to righties. So I like the Astros, the righties from that team. I like the lefties from the Athletics. And looking at some of the other teams that we could target on this slate, definitely like some of the righties from the Rays because they're really, really cheap. They allow you to pay up for pitcher, and I think they're able to put up runs today versus Matt Moore. So Duffy, Gomez, CJ Cron, Ramos, those are kind of the guys I'm looking at from the Rays today. But that's really it for stacks and implied run totals on this slate. Now if we want to look at BVP, batter versus pitcher history, some of the batters on this slate that have done well in their pitcher matchups versus the pitchers they are facing, at least with a decent sample size, a couple of plays that really stick out to me today. Hunter Pence, 15 for 35 versus Patrick Corbin with 4 home runs, 429 average. So Hunter Pence has hit Patrick Corbin really well. Juan Lagares is 17 for 44 versus Gio Gonzalez with a home run. Joe Mauer, 16 for 49 versus Kluber with 2 home runs. But I don't think taking a batter against Corey Kluber, I don't think that makes really a lot of sense. Looking at some of the higher averages, Addison Russell 6 for 15 versus Adam Wainwright, and Freddie Galvis is 7 for 16 versus Alex Wood. But that's really it for BVP, at least the BVP plays with really big sample sizes. Matt Joyce actually has some solid BVP versus Miguel Gonzalez. He's 9 for 27 with a home run, so 333 average there. Now if we want to look at PVB, pitchers versus batters, pitchers that have done well in the matchups that they have for today. Corey Kluber, no surprise, has done really well versus the Twins in the past. They've only hit him for a 189 average. Through 196 at-bats, the Twins have struck out 70 times versus Kluber, so that's over a 30% K rate that Kluber has versus the Twins. He's a great play today in my opinion. Definitely like him here. Johnny Cueto, done really well against the Diamondbacks in the past. The Diamondbacks have really struggled to hit Johnny Cueto. The Athletics have really struggled to hit Miguel Gonzalez. Only a 209 average versus them, 14 for 67. But that's not really going to keep me off of the Athletics. I still like them today as a stack, specifically the lefties. And then the Astros have actually really struggled against Ariel Miranda. The Astros have only hit him for a 205 average in the past, 23 for 112, 205 average. But like I said, they're not going to keep me off the Astros either. I still like some of the righties from that team. And then pitchers that have done poorly in the matchups they're facing. Zach Wheeler has done poorly against the Nationals, and Alex Wood, kind of surprising, has struggled against the Padres. They're 20 for 61 against him with a 328 average. But that's not really going to keep me off of Alex Wood. I still really like him here as an SP2 option. I think he makes a lot of sense just given his price tag and the matchup with the Padres. So yeah, guys, that's really it for BVP and PVB. That's really it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and hopefully it did help you. If you did enjoy the video, just make sure you click that like button down below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe as well. If you have any questions, you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or just feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it, and good luck tonight on the slate, guys. Peace.